There's the clay, adding in the silt, sand and gravel, and again, you don't see the gravel, there's just a little bit of it. So those yellow areas are what we call granular. Those are areas where you can have groundwater flowing if you have groundwater in those areas. And then the brown areas are what we call cohesive. It's very difficult for the water to move through those. So they operate as an aquitard. Water doesn't flow through them, so contaminants aren't likely to flow through them as well. Now we're getting into the contamination, the 1,4-dioxane plume itself. A handful of wells that are in the model that are 750 parts per billion. We've got one that's 2,100 parts per billion. I think there's another one that's right about 1,000 parts per billion. So that's what's causing the model to crib that data together. But you can see where those hotspots are. And they tend to line up in these granular areas, right? So that's what you would expect. But what I want to point out about this, if you want to run it again, Kayla, you just run it from start to end, and I'll just talk through it. What I want to point out is that there is a lot of clay here, and that helps to guide the contamination in the groundwater a little bit. But what we don't know is those sand layers that start to pop in. Those could be little, what we call like sand stringers, so you don't know. There might be like a regional or a small groundwater divide where water could follow a different pathway than what the preferential pathway is. So that's what we're concerned about, and that's why we're interested in making sure that Barton Pond is protected. We don't know if any of those sand stringers are out there and contamination is following that pathway. We have less sand, that's this golden color, on the north side than we do down here on the south side where we saw the highest contamination. These are depictions of the concentrations, right? So that red was above 1,000. I think it was actually pulling in like 700 in that orange space. So we don't actually have contamination up here at the top of this. That's a model issue we've got to fix. But this should be brown up here. And it should look something a little more similar to this. So as you move from the north down to the south, you see that we're losing that higher contamination. It's getting sparser. I say higher relative to that high concentration of 2,100, right? We're looking at like 300 to 1,000 in this space on the north side. This is about 1,000, and here we're in the heart of it.
Yeah, plume gets beyond M14. It's almost a downhill run into Barton, and he's very concerned about that, and we're very concerned about that. The MDEQ at the town hall meeting said, it was Bob Wagner, said, well, Barton Pond has a natural blocking agent that keeps 1,4-dioxane from going into Barton, and I asked Larry Lemke at the next CARD meeting, which was a week later, and he said, no, that's not true. In fact, it'll go right into Barton if it gets close to it. And the CARD group had asked the DEQ to put some monitoring wells north near the prohibition zone many years ago. Judge Sheldon ruled that that was not needed. So how do those wells match up with the wells that you're proposing?
The intention is to have wells in a place so we can make sure that we have an early warning system to protect our water supply. And right now, we feel like we don't have wells strategically located between where the north end of the plume is and Barton Pond. So the intention here is to install those wells.
Putting more monitoring wells is not a solution to the massive problem of dioxin contamination of our surface water. You can put monitoring wells up the wazoo. That is not the same as cleaning up the current catastrophic pollution that we face. We must clean it up.